searching the dark side of the mountain. Through my bones and hair and blood, words rise and cold snatched from my mouth to sink them into the cold black mud.
Just, I don't have any questions, but maybe a word of advice. You've got a second chance here, so do better. She deserves it.
Annie deserves everything.
And perhaps for her sake, don't throw your life away. She cares. And you're both terrible at communicating. Remember that. She loves you as much as you love her.
She loved me too much.
And you her.
And the doctor pulls him down. You need to rest. You need to get some rest, Victor. You are in bad shape still. I know. And he brings a needle over. He's going to pinch for a moment, and then you're going to feel fine. And he injects him with something. It says like morphine on the side of the bottle.
Oh.
He'll be out for a bit.
That's that new wonder drug, isn't it?
It's pretty amazing, actually.
Yes.
It keeps the pain down so much.
My brother did a lecture on that. That and the heroin. Fascinating stuff.
It is. There's so much promise there. We are going to save so many lives with those things.
Yes, and it's so much better than the laudanum. Safer, too.
It's gonna be okay.
Well, we'll know in the morning. I think so. I'll stay up with them and make sure. Best I can. I mean, it's in the Lord's hands, too, you know. It's not just me.
I understand.
Yes, the biggest risk here is probably infection, as long as he stays clean.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys can wait outside in the room if you'd like. I need to take care of Mr. McSweeney. I'm glad you got him here when you did.
Yes. Keep him well, Doctor, and keep us informed, and Annie.
Will do. Back in the woods, you are heading towards town. You got quite a bit of a trek, of course. Some of it uphill, some of it downhill. That's the worst part. Some of it is uphill. And as you're going, it is odd. There is the sound just in the edges of your peripheral audio of things moving about in the forest. Not that that's new to either of you. You are both acclimated to it. But some of them sound more like people wandering than animals wandering. Animals try and be quiet. These sound like they're shuffling along, just louder than they ought to be.
Doc is rising, Annie. Can you hear it?
I can. How far away are we from town at this point?
Or from the house where Annie's dad was, if we're still not even there yet.
You're at the base of the hill between where the standing stones are and the house. So you have to go up the hill to the house, and then you're on your way to the town from there.
Annie, if we can get to the protection of those walls, do you want to try something with me?
Sure. I mean, there's those friendly ghosts in there, so maybe they might help us out. Who knows?
Maybe they might. Let's book it. I don't like it out here right now, and I usually love it out here at night.
Me too. Let's keep running. Running towards the house.
If we make it.
Yeah, if we make it.
And you're running, and at some point, heading up the hill, you start to hear sort of the running of other folk. Maybe there's some people running nearby, but in the dark.
Copycats.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Annie, I want to try something weird once we get there and get safe. I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if it's a good idea, but I feel like something is rushing us along, and we're going to run out of time for options soon.
That's fine. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
All right, I'm making for that house. I was trying to keep up with Annie, who's probably a lot faster than me.
Oh no, I'm keeping a pace. I'm actually checking your back. You're 6, I think they say. I'm looking like you're running ahead of me, and I'm looking behind with the gun.
6. Sorry, I'm trained in reading, but not in numbers, so this might be the first time I've heard 6.
It means I'm just checking your back. It's fine. Just keep running.
So Scott, my idea I'm trying to think about trying to do, I'm not sure if it'll even work. When you described
Best
that
ideas.
necklace to me in that box, you said other people could access the same vision.
Yes.
There was no description on proximity for them to enter into said vision. Like if I were to do it in this house while thinking of our circle of companions,
Right.
like would Volney go into it in the church? Would William and Miss Evangeline go into it in the hospital office? Or do we all need to be
You
together?
don't rightly know. That is kind of in your mind a question that you can contemplate as you're running.
Mm.
Gonna need your help, Annie. You might have to chant some stuff.
Yeah, that's fine. I can't sing very well. Do I have to be on key or anything? Or
Oh, no, you don't have to sing.
All right.
Annie, make me a perception check as you are fleeing and
Oh,
looking back and
don't
checking
do it,
backs and
Annie.
all that.
Don't do it.
I'm checking the back. All right.
She's watching my 7.
That's a natural 20.
So you were running and you look back and you know continue running up the hill, and running up the hill is tiring and slowing. And you look back and actually I have a question. Are you using your flashlight while you run, or are you doing it just in the dark?
Is there enough
Oh.
moonlight where we could at least see a path in
the
front of us,
trees,
or is
there's
it
less.
pitch?
Is there some? There's a little bit. Less than you had out in the clearing.
I was thinking that, I don't know, Jared, do you still have your lantern up?
I do. I'm assuming being locals, we don't like drawing real bright light out in the woods at night where people can see from ages away, but we'd also know how easy it would be to break an ankle on like a loose root in the dark.
Yeah.
So maybe dim light on the lantern?
Yeah, I was going off a lantern light and just like my peripheral vision and whatnot.
All right. So you turn and you hear the running and stuff, and it seems to be getting closer, and you continue running and you turn, and as you turn, right in the light, you see this face coming up towards you with eyes that are blank, almost black, and it is reaching at you, and I need an initiative roll from the two of you.
Oh no.
Ah!
Is it Volney?
Oh no. Not Volney. I got a 7.
13 and trained.
All right. Jericho, you have the advantage on this. You get to go first as you see this figure just come up quickly right into the light, ignoring the fact there's light in its eyes.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't look like anyone we would recognize, like somebody just running out of the woods who needs help all of a sudden, but it's obviously like a awkward looking
Can I get an
humanoid.
intellect roll from both of you?
I hope Annie does better because that was a 4.
I got a 6, though.
That's like a third better. That's real good, Scott. That's real
That
good.
is real good. You do not recognize this figure.
Instead of blasting off some sort of Merlin biz, I'm just gonna back of the hatchet wood clock as quick as I can because they grabbed Annie.
They're grabbing at
know.
Annie.
Yeah.
It's grabbing at Annie.
Yeah. So maybe not with the blade, but turn to the metal back and just like maybe swing at the arm.
Alright.
I now have an edge in my, and that's a 15.
Oh, that's a good solid hit.
Get back. Oh no, it's get.
How much damage do you do?
With my little side axe, that's a 2.
All right. And then
And maybe just kind of brace myself like Annie's drawing her gun and I'm more have a close weapon out in case they come at her.
well, it is trying to claw at Annie. Can you make me a defense roll? Annie.
Me?
Myself or
Yes,
Annie?
Annie.
Okay.
Okay.
Annie was in the back, so that's
Oh, that's a 19.
nice. So
Much better.
it does not
Good eye.
get a hold of you. You dodge to the side and you keep moving, and it is gurgling as it comes and reaching out at you as it comes, and you can tell that this person does not look like someone who is healthy. Maybe
They ain't look
looks
right,
more like
Jared.
someone who has not been healthy in a long time, potentially.
They look like they've been dead a long time, but they
Hey,
alive right now. I don't know how.
shoot the kneecaps, Annie. They can't chase us without knees.
Oh, you don't think I know that?
I don't know. I'm not sure if they could or not. I'm a little afraid to learn, actually.
Oh. Is it my
It's
go?
yours. It's yours, Annie. Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. I'm gonna take my rifle, which is readied, and I'm going to take a shot. Is it just one of them that I see, or do I see 2 of them?
You only see one,
All right.
but you hear the steps of maybe 1 or 2 more, maybe, but they're not right on you at the moment.
Now this is a bit wibbly wobbly, so I might need your permission. I do have successive attacks where I can shoot one foe and then make another attack immediately after that to shoot at another foe.
Mm-hmm.
Could I shoot in the direction of where I think the foe is coming from, or would I
course.
have to roll for that?
You'd still have to roll because you would be hindered in for a couple of reasons. One of which is you can't see them.
Right. But I have the, I
you
guess,
could do it.
general idea of the direction that they're coming at me from. So I'm just gonna do it. Let's see what happens.
All right.
At least might scare them away. It's gonna be
It
real
might.
loud.
Yeah. And my bullets are still blessed. So
Mhm.
there's that. All right. Come on, dice gods, be good to me. 17. That's a 17.
That is.
And then should I roll the second attack
give me a
as
second.
well? Or-
You're going to in a second. So the 17 does an extra point of damage, and
Yeah.
How much does your rifle do?
So the rifle actually takes 4 points of damage.
And
Yeah.
you do extra damage from your skill or something? Like,
Yes,
okay.
weapon wielder. That's an additional point. So that's 5 technically.
Okay.
And then 6 with the 17, correct?
Yeah, and then 6. So 6 points of damage.
Brutality.
Yeah.
That's where the protector's coming in, y'all.
That
Woohoo!
first one is blown back away from you and kind of falls like down the mountainside where you're running up, and then you take your second shot. So this one you're rolling.
Alright.
You are hindered by 2 for the darkness. You cannot see them
Yeah.
directly.
Jer, I'm gonna try and shoot in the direction of wherever else these ones are coming from.
All right, Annie.
That one's not as good. That is sick.
A 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fired out into the darkness. You don't know if you hit nothing or not. Possible, but you do still
Maybe I
hear,
hit it. I don't know.
You still hear running out there,
Hmm.
and you continue running up the hill, or you standing your ground here.
Annie, do
Oh,
we
we're just keep
fight them?
running.
Do we run? All right, we run.
We got to get to that house because
All right.
hopefully we get a fortified position, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you continue running, and you can hear at least 2 more starting to converge on the direction you're running, and then you see the clearing of the house up ahead. There's enough moonlight you can see the house, and it's bathed in the moon, and there is still the mess of rocks and tentacle parts and eyeballs and things that are all over the ground.
Do you need to reload your gun, Annie? Is that how it works mechanically?
I don't think I need to reload my rifle, actually. I think as long as I have it ready. I don't. It never says anything to me that I have to necessarily reload it in game. I think certain firearms need a reload action, but I don't think my rifle does.
Yeah.
If we make it into said building,
you get to the house. You are at the deck that wraps around it, and you can see coming out of the woods, just as you hit the deck, 3 more figures, one of which you do recognize. It is a boy named Jimmy Cole, and the only reason you know his name is because he died in a coal mining accident last year.
Jimmy Cole?
His eyes are
Hale.
black, and he is coming up. He is carrying a big stick. The others are not carrying anything.
shoot from the door, Annie. I'm gonna try something.
All right.
If I can get inside the building behind Annie while she's like in the door, I have a new thing that requires 3 intellect points, called the Grasp of the Green, where I can summon vines and plants to either clear an area or fill an area. And if I want to spend more, I can have them do damage if they're catching bad guys. I'm trying to seal this building. Like, have the plants clog the door, clog the windows, make a little nest egg around us so Annie can shoot out and we can be protected for a moment.
All right.
I don't know how big the spell's supposed to be, is more my issue. But Jericho will just run into the middle of this room and just start pulling out spell components and grinding like a root dust into his palm. And I'm going to try to grow some plants to secure our location a little bit better.
And you back into the doorway, and Annie, you hear him chanting something as these figures come charging up towards the deck. You have an ability, you can fire at them before they get there, or you can wait for them to close in, wait for Jericho. How long does that take to happen, Jericho?
Just an action.
Okay, so in a moment, something will happen.
All right.
You don't really know what's going to happen, so you can act.
I'm gonna keep shooting at these figures that are running up towards us. I'm gonna try and aim for the head as much as I can. Let me see. I got a new one. It's called Slow Bleed in Tier 2. And I make a powerful and precise strike that inflicts additional damage later. Then on my next turn, the target takes an additional 3 points of damage and ignores all armor. So I'm going to try and do that on the kid with the stick, if I can see him.
You can see him. That would be Jimmy.
Yeah, can I see Jimmy coming towards us?
He is the fastest of this group. He is heading up first and foremost.
All right.
Stick raised.
Jimmy, you going to stay dead today, my friend. All right, let's hope I can roll well. Well, maybe not. It's a 4.
Shoot that child ghost, Annie.
You fire, and it doesn't hit Jimmy. You would think it would scare someone that's being fired at, but it seemed to have no effect on the mentality of this boy or the 2 others coming up to the sides of him. And when we come back around, we're back around to you, Jericho.
I will give up another action, still just growing vines if it's required to fill the space. But I just picture him just sweating in the middle, and every time Annie shoots, he like flinches. Maybe a little bit of blood in the corner of his nose, as he's just so worried for his friend's daughter and his friend Annie, who is one and the same. And worried for William and wondering if they all got to town. And I think he's putting all he has into trying to secure this spot to try to access this necklace before something goes horribly wrong.
All right. And Annie, you hear this kind of chanting from behind you as you are looking out. And as it's happening, the grass seems to be growing dramatically fast and strangling around the legs and ankles of these 3 as they're coming up. One of them Jimmy hits the edge of the deck and trips. And the vines that have grown out of these grasses have kind of reached up and wrapped around, and he is pulling at them, but not looking at the things behind. Is only looking at you in the door, and he's like clawing into the deck with his hands. And as he is, the reeds or weeds that have pulling are dragging him, and his fingers are leaving claw marks in the deck as he's being slowly pulled back, and he continues trying to go forward. The other two are a little bit bigger though, and they are resistant a little more, and they get to the edge of the deck. It's trying to wrap around their ankles and legs, and is doing so, and they take a step or two forward, enough to get a swing if they wanted, or
if any creatures are trapped in it, their attacks are hindered against us.
Yes.
Also.
So they are right in front of the door where you're at, and you have... And we're back to the bottom. Annie, you are up. What are you doing with these?
Right. So looks like Jimmy's restrained quite a bit. So I'm going to let him be restrained a bit more. And I'm going to try and slow bleed one of the big fellas. Let's see what happens there.
Okay.
The hot sentence.
Yep. That's an 11.
And 11 is a hit because they're right in front of you. You needed above a 9.
Thank
right
God. Yeah, so that's a slow bleed. That means one of the goons takes on the next turn takes an additional 3 points of damage. So, but they take 5 damage now.
Nice.
And it hits with enough ferocity, it blows him back off to the back end of the deck again. The other one is still right there in front. We're back up to the top. Jericho, you are continuing your chanting as your vines.
If the vines have done their job, I would kind of shift to my next activity, but I'm trying to flush out area a little bit first, because dying won't complete the next thing I want to do either. So if the vines are kind of already doing their thing, I'm going to pull out that little wooden box, which is the only cipher I have at this point. But before, I would try to, even if it takes my action, even though it's just flare and I'm weird, I'd like to go to each corner of the inside shack and almost like impromptu ward the place as quick and sloppy as is possible. But I'd like to do it like in one corner, in the name of Annie McSweeney, and in the next one, in the name of William Matheson, and in the third, in the name of Miss Blanc. He makes sure to say it the way he likes to. And then Volney Rogers in the fourth. And I will try to like focus on my friends and what we're after as I open that necklace, and hope they all will enter into some shared vision with me that some of us might survive with the truth. Because if Annie and I die right now, they won't find out what's going on. Our friends that are in town. So this is kind of a last-ditch attempt. Let's get us all on the same page in case some of us don't see the sun come up.
All right. So you take out the bones from
I'll put the
box,
necklace on if that's what it
necklace on.
requires.
You see the restraints happen on the legs and bodies of these three in front of you, and it pulls them back away from the house. And the vines become so dense that there is nobody's climbing through those without a machete of some kind.
And I'm so worried for Annie, seeing her back with all this in front of her from inside of the house. Like, Jericho is so anxious right now for the well-being of the few people he cares about.
And all at the same time, there is a darkness that kind of rolls over your eyes, everybody here and one other. And you find yourself looking inside a place that is familiar enough. It looks like Guilty Hole. It is an older building, maybe even a log cabin. Annie, you recognize it from when you were a child? Not quite. You were told never to go in there, But you, of course, snuck in once or twice because that's what children do when they're told not to go somewhere.
Do we recognize that we're sharing a vision? Like, do we get a sense of William?
Oh, no,
do we
you
get
just
a
are
sense?
having
Okay.
a vision. There was nothing
Deal.
that guided you into it. Even back to the doctor's offices, it is
I
like
hope
a
they were
new
sitting
darkness.
down.
And you see Drew, you see a woman sitting in a chair in this room, and you recognize a younger version of your father, Annie. Next to your mother, there are 3 or 4 big men, 4 in this case, and they look a lot like the men that were at the dance. Not like the same people, but more like the same types of people. In front of the woman that is sitting in the chair, there is a small table, and there is some tea that had been served, but none drank. There was a tray of cornbread with a knife on the tray. You see yourself as a baby sitting off to the side of the room, and in walks Drury Sedora. And she sets a piece of coal on the table. She says, "What can you tell me about this, Victor?" And she looks at the woman and she goes, "What's going on here, Ma? Why are they in here?" And Miss Sedora says, "Don't look at your wife. Don't look at your child right now. We have a conversation that is happening right now that is very important to all 3 of you." And he goes silent and he looks at the coal. Looks like a lump of coal to me. Uncomfortably laughing. The gift of naughty children every Christmas, I suppose, right? And Miss Drury, not amused, stares at long, and her voice gets tense. "Whose coal is it?" "I suspect it's your coal, or you wouldn't have brought it here." "It is my coal, but I didn't bring it. I found it. Do you know where I found it?" And Pa, his eyes kind of widen a little and then narrow. And the 4 tall men say nothing, but he looks at them. And Ma is just sitting in the chair, calm, but you can tell there's a fear on her. And quick as a snake, Victor pulls the bread knife up and lowers it right into Drury Sedora, puts his weight down and stabs over, and blood flies across this room as he pulls back, arm extended as far back as it goes, blood flying everywhere, and the 4 men stand still and watch. And after he knew he had killed Miss Sedora, he stands up and faces the 4 men, his hand shaking with the knife in front of it. And then Miss Drury Sedora stands up again in front of him. And he, of course, stabs again, thinking he failed at what he was trying to do. His face is pure red. Even though it's got coal covering it, you can see there's fire inside. And this pattern happens again, 2 more times, stabbing and her standing. And you can tell that the exhaustion takes over on him, and her face pulls tight like a serpent. "Stand down, Victor. We're going to discuss leaving your child alive. Or should I burn this place down with your entire family in it? And you know we can do it." Blood is just covering every part of her at this point. The room is sprayed with her blood. He stands back, realizing at this point he is not going to succeed at killing this person. And the woman sitting in the chair has been watching this, and what can we do to keep Annie alive? Well, one or both of you is going to die horribly. You understand? And Mrs. McSweeney says, well, then it ought to be me. It should not be any of those two. Somebody's got to take care of Annie. And your father stands up. It'll be me. It will not be you. And Miss Drury looks at him and says, oh, no, it won't be. You owe us. And you are now in my debt. So I'm going to take the one that is debt-free at the moment. Maybe I won't even kill her at this point. But no, if you go looking for her, you go trying to find her or try and find out what happened to her, Annie will be next. That's just how it works around here. When you're in debt for life. And she puts her hand out for the cornbread knife, and your father puts it in her hand, and you can see tears are running down. You can see the streaks running down the soot on his face. And she reaches down with the knife and cuts a piece of the cornbread. And it's bloody at this point, and she takes a bite. That's a mighty fine piece of cornbread you make there, Mrs. McSweeney. I might keep you alive just for that. All right, let's go. And they all head out. And you start to cry, the baby version of you, and your father comes over and swaddles you, blood all over his chest, and gets on your blanket. But the viewpoint doesn't stay there. It goes out to the front yard, and there are several people there. And Drury collapses in front of them, one hand holding up her weight. I don't think I'm going to make it through this. You need to get me another body. I need one soon. And then she falls flat to the ground. And you all come to looking around a room that you recognize as being a doctor's office or the inside of this house.
And we all had the same vision.
Yes, simultaneously.
That was you. That was your mom.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much she looked like me.
I almost expected you to have a little toy rifle, Annie. I'm not gonna lie.
Too small, but give it another year.
I wish all the group was together. I'd love to hear Miss Blanc give her theories on what just happened.
Well, let's get out of here and kill these dudes so we can get back to them.
I think Jericho's gonna have a little cry. But like while they're getting up to go out, and it's for Annie and it's for Victor, who at one point Jericho was a closer friend to, before he pulled away as hard as he did. Jericho doesn't have family, so this is about as close as he's gotten, and he hates to see just that weight. Do you think they all saw it, Annie? Do you think it worked?
If I saw it, they must have seen it, because, I mean, it extended beyond you, I guess. I hope they did, but... By the way, are the zombies still, like,
they're all just
coming
wrapped
towards
up?
us?
No, they're incapable of moving.
Okay,
And it
great.
looks
Because
like-
I was wondering if I was supposed to be like,
Yeah, and it looks like all the plant work it was not big enough to surround the whole house. It's only on that one half of the house.
Mm-hmm.
But they were all on that side, coming towards where you were.
If our scene was to end dramatic, it would be with Jericho doing his Jedi pull at his hatchet and his knife, and then just walking out with Annie to take care of a bunch of zombies that are tied up in vines.
Which you could totally do. And
Like, just ready to cause blood.
like Rogue One ending when they're all like, go it anyway.
Let's get to William. Let's get to Miss Blanc.
And you go finish.
Let's kill
it
a
off.
fucking ghost.
We'll come back to the
Yeah.
doctor's office. The two of you, suddenly the darkness lifts, and you're standing right next to each other by the door. The last of a car goes past and heads up the road, and you are right in front of each other, not knowing what just happened.
What the hell was that?
This morning, Jer. And I walk out the door, and I'm assuming there's like at least some sort of porch space, and we'll just like
There
just
is.
sit on the porch and just cry. Just no one. She was there. No one deserves to see that.
Why the hell did we see that? You saw that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what? I'm not just mad.
No. Think Jericho did whatever he was gonna do. Hope they're okay, but I need a second.
I
And
need a
like
drink.
visibly, as he's just kind of like sitting, almost like curling into himself, there is kind of the shadows are a little bit darker around him and kind of creating a bit of a bubble of protection as he is just sinking into himself. And you can kind of almost hear like little like kind of whispers as he's just sobbing.
You know, with your inability to understand magic, you might actually think this came from William. Since there's no one else around here, and you are hearing whispers around him and stuff. That is.
I just presume I'm going crazy, and everyone else is going crazy around me, and we're all just going the same flavor of crazy. That's what I assume. There's something wrong with the moonshine.
Or something right with it.
Oh, either way. You had that vision thing with the with Victor, but younger, and what I assume was Annie and the mother.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a lot. So
Like I said, could use some more to Jericho. Okay.
you want some of my hip flask? Here.
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah.
And just like takes a huge slug and like wipes his eyes.
I've got more.
Okay. Yeah. And we'll take another huge slug and hand it back.
Yeah, don't be shy. It's fine. There's plenty more where that came from.
Yep. I've got a spot too if I need any more. Okay.
Well, I suppose that's an indication they're okay for now.
At least Jericho felt somewhat safe enough to try it, but I think we should still go back. At least start heading that direction.
Oh, yes, they're probably getting themselves into trouble. I mean, without saying. Let's hop in the vehicle. I'm sure we can't ruin it that much more than it already is.
Not a bad idea.
When you get out there, the steam is rising out of the hood, and when you try and start it up, the vehicle is no longer running.
Ah, damn. Oh, she's gonna kick the tire.
It flat.
Well, I
flat.
tried.
Like that's all the pressure left in it. It
Blast. I guess we're walking. Do you have a light?
No.
All right. Well, into the dark we go.
There is the light on the bridge. You know, those are still there. Those lights.
I guess I'll pull out the gun. Do you have a weapon?
Yeah, my axe. It's not
Well-
ranged, but if anything gets close, I can hit it. If you miss, I can hit it.
Okay, you stand at the ready and I'll pump metal if I need to.
I think maybe we should wait at the bridge. At least that's a good middle of the way. Then we can walk him back to the doctor's office. I don't think we should go into the woods by
Let's
ourselves.
not stand in the light though. That just makes us a sitting target. We'll be ducks.
Good idea.
You all right?
No. None of us are all right.
Well, I mean, obviously, but I mean, uh, that was a bit inscrutable, to say the least.
That
And a bit-
woman is fucking scary.
Yeah, just a bit. But I guess we just have to move on and hope our friends are okay and help them as best we can.
Mm-hmm.
It will be okay.
If you say so. We're a little far from okay, at least
Oh.
right now.
Come on, with your axe and my gun, we'll be fine. Come on, William.
And you walk out towards the bridge. Jericho and Annie, I assume you're heading back down after you finish off the 3 of these.
After a sweet
Figures.
montage of us like cleaning up wounded zombies and vines with like ice picks.
Yeah.
Annie,
one thing
there you are.
the only thing you notice that is maybe not surprising, but surprising at the same time is the wounds from your axe and stuff didn't seem to really do much, but the wounds from the bullets seem to continue damaging them.
Good.
And you
Alright.
head down to town.
Annie, do you think we'd be traveling in light, or are we moving quietly in the dark so we can hear other things, but we wouldn't move as fast?
I'm thinking I'm going full like hunting mode with you, and I'm now trying to kind of like teach you how to be cool and like huntery.
I bet you we've had some cool forest moments with like
Yeah.
Annie down and Jericho
Yeah.
behind, like watching. And, yeah.
But I'm doing that cool like, you know, that like really cool like toe heel walk, and I'm
Mhm.
like making like not a lot of noise, and I'm like looking around myself with my gun drawn, and you're behind me with your lantern.
Turn real low.
Yeah, and we're going like really like at a nice pace, but slow enough that hopefully nothing sneaks up on us, kind of thing. And I'm using like all of my hunting knowledge to try and hear if we're being hunted.
And I'm happy Annie's doing that because Jericho was not paying attention to anything besides how does Annie seem. And he's trying to not look into her mind because of how much respect he has for her, but he's desiring so hard to just know how bad she is because it seems like she's reverting into, you know, naturalist survival mode a little bit.
She
So I'm
looks
glad
intense
she's
for
watching because
sure.
he's more watching her.
Yeah. And she looks intense as she's leading you two down the hill towards the bridge. When you get to the bridge, you get this feeling you're being watched. Evangeline and William, you see a couple figures coming out of the darkness,
Shoot him. Just kidding, Annie.
and they walk towards the bridge. They don't rant. They don't like move like the figures you had seen before. They sort of are walking like normal people, and they walk into the light, and you see Annie and Jericho come into the light.
Thank
And
God.
they're like,
Okay.
Oh, good. Hey,
Is it really you?
put your guns down. Yes, of course.
What's our word?
Thank the Lord.
We have a word. I don't know, Barbara.
There we go. I was about to say, what's the name of our pet?
I was gonna say, what fucking... We didn't come up with anything. Okay.
Did you guys? First of all, is my dad alive?
He's not dead.
So,
Thank God.
says
Is he gonna-
Oh, also, Jericho,
Yes.
did you do that?
Do what? Do what?
The thing with the vision and the
Oh, yeah. We
You
thought
guys
we were
got
gonna.
it.
We thought we were gonna die, so we were trying to pull it off real quick. It got a little messy after y'all left.
Oh, I entirely misinterpreted that. See, what I said to William was, I thought it was because you were fine. Well, I feel silly.
We wanted you all to see in case Annie and I didn't make it, so
Oh, well, I feel dumb. That's a first.
I would never call you dumb, Miss Blunt.
That was a lot.
Yeah. He just looks at Annie. Yeah.
And, I can, at least, we can confirm some of the veracity of the vision. It matches what, Annie, your father, told us. After waking up, he's asleep now, medicated.
But let me get this
Doc.
straight. My mother's still alive?
That part, I can't confirm, but the stabbing and whatnot, that one, he did confess.
Yeah. I guess I just didn't realize how truly helpless he was to the situation. Where can we find this bitch? That's all I want to know. I might have a few words with her with my rifle, if you catch my drift.
Well, if you want to put her in a wooden kimono, I suggest we go to the mine. All the vehicles seem to be going that way. There were another 3.
This late at
That
night.
are to the loves.
Anyway, I'm gonna go check on my dad, if you don't mind. And
Yes.
maybe we should regroup. Maybe back at Jer's. Sorry to volunteer your house so much. It's just so beautiful and magical.
Oh, you're fine. I'm even fine just smoking out front with William and Miss Blanc and waiting for you. Might be better if we don't separate too much right now.
Also, I might suggest a night's rest. For all of us, it's been a rather busy day.
I'll
Jericho cabin sleepover, William. It's still an offer.
It's not necessary. And you
What?
can see just like he is fully
Hmm.
zoned out and is just like falling in lockstep with wherever we're going.
Can you imagine a single lady like me with 2 men, and no chaperone?
Yeah, let's
What will
let
the
Annie,
neighbors think?
Annie talk to her dad alone, and we'll sit out front together.
Yeah. So I go in to the doctor's office, and I'm assuming he's on a bed.
He is.
I go in and I sit next to him.
He's going to come in and
And
out
I-
of consciousness for a while. He's really, really hurt badly. Annie, sorry your paw was brought in this way, but I'm glad he made it in here. He was, from what I could tell, he was dead when he was brought in, and we were able to revive him. So,
I
be
thank
gentle.
you kindly for all your help, and for my friends. I wasn't able to. I had a bit of a moment, shall we say. My wits weren't about me. I didn't know where I was. It almost felt like I wasn't here. It felt like I was out of my body, if that makes sense. I couldn't physically go with him. You know what that means, Doctor. I guess I don't have to explain that to you, but
From what I can tell, that means I need to take leave from the room for a bit so you can have a little time with your father, because I do not do
yeah,
mystical things.
yeah.
like that.
I gotta say some things to him.
And he steps out. He finishes wiping his forehead with a cloth, trying to keep fever down. He may be getting infected, I'm sorry to say. And he steps out. And your father's eyes they kind of open, but they look glassy and sort of not completely conscious, just sort of partially there.
I take his hand and I say, "You don't have to speak none. Just squeeze my hand if you can hear me."
And he squeezes your hand and he says, I can hear you. I can
Good.
hear you. Where are we? I don't know where we are.
You're at the doctor's.
Annie,
You're gonna
and
sit-
he pops up. Annie, you got to get
No.
out of this place. I'm so sorry. I should have
Daddy-
taken you out of this place when you were little. And
You need to rest.
and his weight
Please.
comes down on your shoulders, and he like wraps his arms around you. I'm so sorry, little girl. I'm so sorry.
You got to still your mind. I ain't the one being the parent, all right? I need you here.
I don't even know where I am, but I gotta tell you something though. The Druries don't make no deals with no Druries or no idols or any of those mine owners. They're not like us. They're evil in some way. They're like from the darkness or something.
I know. We don't figure that out. How about you lie down?
And he lies back, and you can see that he's really exasperated, and his eyes are kind of rolling in his head. And he's like, and you can see on the side there was an injection of morphine, and like he's kind of in a half state. I'm just so sorry. I love you so much. I'm so sorry about you and your mother.
It's all right. I love you too. I'm sorry I couldn't come with you.
And his hand
there was
gets
something
weak.
If something stopped me, I don't know what it was. It's my own mind. And I never had that happen to me before. My own mind stopped me from going. My body couldn't move, and I couldn't. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. I'm sorry I couldn't go back with you. I'm here now, and I'm just happy you're alive, Daddy. I'm just happy you're alive.
And as you're saying that and you're feeling this, you feel his hand sort of slip out of yours. Like he went unconscious or something, and like just no strength left. And you feel a breath. You hear a breath, and you don't hear another breath.
Daddy? Hey. And I hit his cheek.
And there's no reaction from him.
Doctor, he ain't breathing.
And
the door
opens.
Shake him. I'm like, wake up, and I start smacking his face even harder.
Oh no.
And getting panicked.
And you see him start doing the things doctors do when they're worried about something like this. He starts breathing into his mouth, trying to get breath into him, and he starts pressing on his heart and going back and forth, doing what you happen to know is like this newfangled type of CPR kind of thing or something like that. You've only heard about it. You've been told it's important to learn. You haven't learned it yet, but it's important. And he tries this for minute after minute after minute, and until there's so much exhaustion in his hands and your hands trying to help him as he pulls you into this, and your father's breath never comes back. I'm so sorry, Annie, that I couldn't do more for him. I'll leave you alone. And he steps out to where the three of you are. I'm sorry. Mr. McSweeney won't be back with us.
I push past him.
Yeah, following immediately.
You're in the room for a minute with him, and he's just, you see the color, it kind of leaves his face over time.
I put my hand over his eyes and I close them.
Okay. They're closed.
My old friend. I'm sorry, Annie.
And I just I put my hat on. And I just start walking towards the mansion. I go right out. I turn right around, and I'm loading my gun, and I'm ready to go. I'm like, who do I have to kill? I'm not even. I'm angry. I'm crying and I'm angry.
I block the way out from the doctor's office. I don't let you go through that door. Seeing that you're about to do something stupid. Annie, I can't let you go out there right now.
Why not?
Because they'll kill you and you know it.
I ain't got nothing left to live for. They done took everything from me.
You've got us at least.
They done took every family I had. They took both my parents. I ain't got no brothers. I ain't got no sisters like you do, William. I ain't got nobody. I got friends, but I ain't got no family left.
Those siblings that I have, they're family, they're family, but they ain't the same thing as y'all that I've met here. Y'all become my family too. And I hope you'd feel the same way about that. And I don't want you to die. So you're gonna have to kill me to make me move. I'm not moving till we've at least had a chance to sleep on it. Tomorrow? Hell yeah, I'll fucking go and help you kill whoever needs to be killed. But not tonight, not when we've seen so much.
It may be fruitless, but Jericho's going to be trying something while they're having their little showdown. But it's probably just because he would try. I don't think it would actually do anything. He's going to pull out his little watch with the initials JE, which was his brother's watch, because Jericho's was broke in the war. So he's had his brother's because they have the same initials. And if there's any creative way to do something, he would try to do it. I'm not really expecting there to need to be a way, but if it consumes his brother's watch all the way to insist that it's not Victor's time yet, he would sacrifice the last thing he has of his brother. And even just for flair, I can mind read. So I would even burn the points to just be focusing in Mr. McSweeney's head. Like, you cannot do this, my old friend. You fucking wake up. Don't you fucking dare. You've never had repercussions for one of your goddamn decisions, and you're not going to get away this time. And I will melt the watch. I will lose that memory and burn it, if even in just the attempt. I think he would try something, even if he wasn't very secure in that.
And you go through this ritual as everyone else, as this conflict is happening at the door. And you attempt to do this, and you open your hands to the watch, and it is still at the same time it was before. And it has not left your person.
I've never been strong enough. But I think he'll walk past over to Annie and William and just try to push out to go outside himself, just to get to the air.
Yeah, I'll let Jer pass.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Have I been in the community long enough to use Know Thy Neighbor?
Yeah, and you've met several people who've become, I wouldn't say close, but acquaintances.
Okay. Then I would like to use Know Thy Neighbor. And I would like to know if the doctor killed Mr. McSweeney.
Okay.
Fuck yeah, I'll read that guy's mind. William's great at interrogation.
And the doctor is outside having a cigarette, kind of looking out at the moon and kind of out into the town. And he seems like he's in deep thought. There's obviously been a couple of tears that rolled down to someone who is obviously touched by the death of the patients that he has. And you do not think he killed him.
Okay. Annie, if you want to be successful in your effort, then perhaps Our teamwork would be better. And a night's rest better than that. Rather than
And,
a
like-
death wish. A plan.
Robotically, Annie, like, almost as if she's a toy soldier, just like unclips the canister and drops the bullets out of the rifle, like sticks them back in her jacket, like puts her rifle on her back and just stares just like blankly out into space. You're right, Evangeline, Miss Evangeline, you're right. I could use the rest. I might still have a mother, at least.
And
Maybe.
we're so close. Let us help you.
Yeah.
I'll go talk to the doctor while they're doing that and find out what the next steps are. Like what will be required tomorrow from Annie and those types of things, but not making her deal with any of that.
And he talks to you about the process, the going through a wake and all the funeral and all the things that, you know, whatever she wants, but the more we'll come looking for her tomorrow to kind of make arrangements with all that. I am sorry, my friend, that maybe your kind of medicine could have done more tonight. I don't know. I did what I could.
I don't know. I wish I had something clever to say and, you know, make everyone fucking laugh. But I don't know. I'm gonna go take my friend home, I think.
Make me a perception check while you're standing there.
Natural fucking 20, and an edge.
All right, so you see a car way in the distance go up and turn left, and you know at the end of the road, going left is going to the mansion of the Loves, not to the mines. The mines are to the right, and you see there are several lights up on the mansion at this time. You know, there are lanterns lit, and they're only lit when they're having some kind of a party or a get together or something. So you know that there's a gathering. And this is where we're going to break, I think.
But then, like, should I tell Annie there's a whole crowd of people up there? I don't know if I would.
No, she's gonna go full Scarface on that house, and it won't go well for her. So don't.
I mean, what if we like seized all the doors and lit it on fire, though?
Right? Yeah.
If we all split up to rest, though, I think Jericho's final scene would be digging a pretty spot outside of Annie's house after she's fallen asleep.
Mm.
For her dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll help you with that.
I guess your mom wouldn't have a grave
No,
that she's
they-
in, but maybe a
No.
tombstone?
There would be like there was like a kind of a in
Yeah.
remembrance kind of stone, because we don't really know what happened to her if she's dead, but she was
Dig
gone
the
so
hole
long.
right next to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Scott.
If you need the
ended
extra
scene.
manpower, I'll help you out.
He ends the scene, and we're like, we still need to take care of Victor. Scott, let's be respectful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ugh,
I would have
brutal.
gone on longer, but I think it was a good place to kind of
Mhm.
let
Yeah.
it hang for a moment,
Heavy. Mm-hmm.
and we'll be back with it next week. Thank you for joining us for Old Gods of Appalachia night, everybody. It was kind of a heavy night,
Games are
but a
fun.
good one. All right. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you in a week.
Night.
Burning rock, crackle smoke out of the mountain's mouth, hollowed by a cut, by a slash, by a fiery blow. Running through the valley like it's running through my veins, while red-eyed crows keep watch underneath the blood-red moon. My slunch white soul cries out to rise up against the tide of dusty songs cut hard from the dark mountain stone. Cut hard from the dark mountain stone. Cut hard from the dark mountain